start with this poem. I have a daughter too, she's 8 now. This is when she was 7, but we found a journal in her bureau, and I didn't know that she could write, let alone that she had a crush. So, this is a letter. This is now a letter to my daughter's first crush. Dear Max, in the bureau next to her white slate bed, my 7-year-old daughter keeps a small journal decorated with stick-on jewels, pink diamonds, rubies, opals the color of a new black eye. That's your first warning. We find it buried under Cinderella pajamas she's long outgrown. It's a surprise to learn she keeps a journal, or that she writes in one, when unfamiliar feelings like robbers steal the tongue she's used to tell us everything. But there it is, on page 9. I have a crush on Max. Very much. And now I have a broken heart. Very much. A year ago she wanted to marry me, which was weird, but I didn't correct her. I held her hand, kissed her forehead, offered the moon if she needed more reading light before bed. But Max, I suppose it's your turn now. No matter what happens for the rest of 2nd grade, which you've been through before. You will be that boy, that relieved kick she feels inside her chest when you walk in late with your straw-colored hair and untied shoelaces. Punctuality is not your thing, I guess. Neither, it seems, is reading or math or even sitting still. But my daughter likes you, like a shotgun likes shells, like a bat likes baseball, like a chainsaw likes large oak trees. So go ahead, little man, be cute, be 8 years old, be my daughter's first crush. But if you hurt her, I will crush you until you know exactly how a broken heart feels. So, those of you who know me a little bit may have seen my newest video. No. So, anybody heard of the show American Ninja Warrior? Totally auditioned, made my video. It was due on Friday, so if you Google my name and ninja, you can be one of the 875 people who have viewed it already. So I'm very excited about that. But it all started with doing pull-ups. And to the poets in the room, do you ever write a poem and you think, and then it gets published, and you're like, oh damn, that is a good poem, right? So it's not until someone else publishes it, you go, wow, I completely underestimated my poem. So I've actually never read this poem, and I didn't think very much of it, but then it got picked up, so now that's what I'm learning. It starts with doing pull-ups, and I have a pull-up bar. Well, anyway, the poem explains it. Pulling up. For years, the black pull-up bar has been stretched between the door frame of his bedroom closet, where he once imagined himself breaking fitness records. 1 pull-up per day, and I will do 30 in a row by the end of January. 360 in a row by the time Christmas presents are unwrapped in December. The only broken record so far has been the voice inside his head. Do some pull-ups, do some pull-ups, do some pull-ups. But after 38 years, a stubborn boy still, he doesn't listen to the father he has become or to the professor he is now, who uses the bar to air out his newly ironed shirts. Nor does he listen to his wife, who complains about the dozen neckties left dangling as if she's walking through a car wash every time she needs her shoes. Today he lingers beneath the pull-up bar, swipes at the apparel like a store clerk closing shop, then reaches up with both hands and hangs, his bare feet lift off the carpet and slowly rise, his arms pull toward the ceiling, toward heaven, straining every muscle, a tiny protester marching through his biceps until his head is over the bar like a child on his father's shoulders, finally able to see over the railing into the game that he has always wanted to play. All right. So now we move into, shall we say, PG-13, if not worse. Sal? I thought, I was looking through my book of poems, growing up in someone else's shoes, and then I saw a lot of young people back there, and I thought, I wrote this about young people, and the tattoos I see on young ladies' rear ends, because that's where poetry comes from. Waterfalls, come on. So I thought, let me think about this thing that women do to themselves, which is always, of course, for themselves. This poem's called Tailboner. Dear ladies, thank you for the tattoos above your butts, the blue butterflies in mid-flight, the barbed wire and flaming hearts across the smalls of your backs, the tribal signs and Chinese symbols for love dotting your ass crack like the letter I. And thank you for bending so often at the waist to tie your candy-striped Adidas, the sacred lotus on your lower back floating between hip bones. But even I know these tattoos weren't meant for you, because if they were, they'd be on your forehead, where you could wish upon shooting stars while you tweezed your unibrow. Or like a sailor's beloved anchor, they'd be on your forearm, where your last name could stretch from elbow to wrist in old English letters. And if they were only for you, your baby tees and lower jeans wouldn't tease us so damn much by framing your little fairy or dolphin the way a bakery window taunts us with its sculpted breads and sweet tarts. So let's start being honest with each other. You got inked for us, men, who by nature you know are voyeurs drawn to open blinds, Autorex and Cinemax after midnight. And although we'd like to cherish your brains, please don't chastise us for aiming our eyes at your ass when you've got a target painted on your butt. And by the time we are finished basking in your hips' winter tan and envisioning our thumbs tickling the twin dimples of your back, it's too late to appreciate the sudden apparition of the Virgin Mary etched in indigo robes and clouds in the middle of your tailbone. By then, I'm afraid it's become way too hard to treat you like a goddess. Now, that's good. I wanted you to feel that way. Because I will shift now to a poem about men.
Did I just get booed?
Yeah, it doesn't come off with comic girl. You are stuck with that thing for the... Yeah, it's that sudden sense, it's a sudden epiphany and realization. Damn it! I'm sure it's clear.
I don't have one.
Oh. And now she's never get one, right, Mom? Aren't you glad you brought her to Turlock Poetry?
I don't think my actions should be controlled by your opinions.
Right, but I can still have my opinions about your actions. Right? And you can't change my opinions. You can just choose to boo me. That's okay. But this will help. This is for men. See, I figured if I was mean to women, then I would be mean to men, and then everybody would hate me equally. This is for young men. Dear men, Thank you for lighting my cigar on a hilltop at midnight when I was 16 and my first girlfriend dumped me on prom night for the back seat of a football player's Chevy Blazer. And thanks, men, for holding me up like a freeway billboard above the unfamiliar streets of our future. We guided each other through breakups and breakdowns, pushed ourselves through university doors, and farther still until we could look back and laugh at the lives we left behind. But dear men, look at you now. What has become of your kind? You once landed on the moon, but now you press your hairy ass against car windows and moon girls at stoplights. No longer can you take giant leaps for mankind because your pants don't fit. They're too baggy, so you waddle like a penguin with diarrhea. Or they're too tight, skinny jeans that fit like bubble wrap. Your balls are ready to pop. Your boner is visible from space. They say all men are created equal, but some becomes assholes really fast. Marriages go up in flames because men see sparks in the eyes of other women, and no matter how endowed men pretend to be, their little fire hoses cannot stop a home from burning down. Not even the children are safe. Your daughter calls her leather belt a miniskirt, paints her face with rouge the cherry color of brothel walls, and hangs herself like a used coat on the backs of boys who have no spine to hold her up. And you, men, after all these years, still call women bitches when they ignore you on the dance floor, as you thrust your drunken pelvis against their thighs, or when they don't turn their heads when you whistle and lick the stale air between your chapped and tasteless lips. What happened to you, men? If I were gay, you'd make me straight. If I were a girl, I'd be a lesbian because of you. Your testicles have become your eyeballs. Your dick is the only pencil you have used in years, but still you can't spell love. It's the only four-letter word you haven't mastered. Dear men, let's reconvene on that hilltop overlooking midnight's promise of a new day, just you and me, man to man. I'll bring a box of cigars and tell you stories about real love, like when my son told his whole first grade class that I was his hero, or when my daughter hugged my leg so long I was late for work, or when my wife's screams cracked the marble floors of the maternity ward, but with a fistful of my beard and more power and determination than you will ever know, she pushed out our newborn son into a macho world that needs to change before he grows up and tells me that he wants to be a man just like you. Okay. Yeah. No boo? No redemption? Still don't like me? I want to read this poem. I was able to work with an artist who you know, but you don't know you know because he drank his wine. And so this is an artist who works for Gallo, and he does a lot of the barefoot wines, and he does a lot of funky wines. Anyway, he's a collage artist. So here on this poster, you'll see things like Monica Lewinsky and Vanilla Ice, Axl Rose. You'll see that typewriter that Salvador was talking about. If you haven't seen a typewriter, you'll see a lava lamp. You'll see David Hasselhoff and a B-boy. On there you see a guy falling. And this is a cool poster that I was able to work with him to make. It's a poem called The Hotel of Irrelevancy. And this is the hotel that we all will check into someday. So the Hotel of Irrelevancy is the place where things that used to be cool are long gone. And they live there now. And you never want to check in, but we may all someday have to. At the Hotel of Irrelevancy, you check in, but no one checks you out anymore. You are that summer song from 20 years ago that melted ghetto blasters to bare shoulders as you traversed the neighborhood looking for a piece of cardboard wide enough to backspin on. Your legs, helicopter blades. Your head, the tip of a carpenter's drill. At the Hotel of Irrelevancy, a typewriter is placed in every room for you to write letters to the wife you've never stopped loving, even for a second, when you saw another woman's smile. A lava lamp illuminates a Bible on the desk next to a can of Tab soda. You open them both for the first time in decades and dive into the queen-sized waterbed. Rubber waves bubbling beneath you. This, you imagine, is what a rubber duck feels like in the bathtub with a toddler. Soon you become seasick, drowning in dreams of your own irrelevancy. Suddenly, you are Vanilla Ice, Axl Rose, David Hasselhoff. You are Monica Lewinsky's blue dress. You are a singer who can actually sing, a door-to-door encyclopedia salesman. You are as irrelevant as truth in the 21st century, as talent, as love before sex. You, sir, are the broccoli in a kid's Fraggle Rock lunch pail. You are as evil as a carbohydrate. No one wants you anymore. You are poetry in the life of a high school football player. You are morality on MTV. You don't exist. When you wake up, you realize that your bed sheets are made from the fleece corpses of used Snuggies. The balcony window in your 13th floor suite at the Hotel of Irrelevancy is wide open, so you take your first steps outside, over the ledge, and fall until you too become a distant memory that others will soon look down on. Yeah. All right, I'll end. I'll take my butt back to Vesta, filled with booze in my ears. Not booze. But for the young lady back there texting, I'd like to dedicate this to you. That's all we can do as poets, is just write poems about you people. It's okay to talk to strangers. I remember the days when math books fell like leaves from the sexy limbs of young ladies in high school hallways. And if you were lucky, you'd be there to scoop it up with the shovel of your hands and watch a smile bloom across her lips, a thank you pour slowly from her mouth like champagne into a wedding glass. It was the 80s. Michael Jackson was walking on a moon called fame, and Prince was dancing in Purple Rain. Instead of MySpace, we met at My Locker, where real friends knew each other's combinations and the secrets were always safe inside. We wrote love notes to perfect girls who never knew how often they danced in the ballroom of our dreams. These were the wonder years, when Winnie Cooper splintered the hearts of every nerdy Jets fan, and high school strangers met in person, when they rubbed elbows in biology class as they sliced open the stomachs of frogs. These were the days before cell phones, when people had to talk to people, and the best relationships were made by accident. We didn't add friends, we made them. And pornography was the Snap-on Tools calendar in Dad's garage. I'm going to skip the next little bit for the younger ears. Nowadays, if a pretty girl drops her math book on the way to class, no one is there to pick it up. But if a phone rings, every idiot guy scrambles for his BlackBerry, that's old, scrambles for his Galaxy, his Samsung Galaxy, as if he's been waiting his whole life for that call. When will we pick up where we left off 20 years ago, when it took a second to say hello to a girl and a lifetime to forget her? When will we hang up and listen to our hearts, close our laptops, and open our minds to the infinite possibilities of chance? Look, while you were text messaging your bonehead friend about what a short little asshole that poet is. That cute brunette with emeralds for eyes just smiled at you, and you totally missed it. Thank you.
Now this is rearranging furniture. Okay, great. Wasn't this fabulous today? Let's give everybody a